Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, I'll be going over the Shockwave Blood Demon art, which is actually pretty fun. The Shockwave Blood Demon art moveset is fairly good, made even better by the fact that you're invulnerable on almost all of your moves. There are a few weaknesses to this Blood Demon art, but overall, Shockwave is a pretty solid choice for any rogue demon player. I'll be going over the moveset, some tips and tricks for those looking to play it, and Counterplay in case you want to know how to fight against it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. The first move in the Shockwave Blood Demon art moveset is Air type, which interestingly enough has both an M1 variant and an M2 variant. When the M1 variant is used, the user rises up into the air and takes a stance, before hitting the area where the cursor is with 3 consecutive air types that deal damage and stun those hit. The user has hyper armor during this move, and you're almost always safe once you're in the air. This move can also be used to combo extend at close range. Each air type does decent damage, but all projectiles are blockable. The M2 variant of this move is fairly similar, with some key differences. On activation, the user deploys a compass needle around them as an indication that the move has been used, and their next 3 M1s shoot shockwaves at the cursor. These air types are exactly the same as the M1 variant, and thus can be blocked. However, there isn't 360-degree blocking on these shockwaves, so they can go behind block if aimed correctly. The cooldown for this move is 12 seconds. The second move that the Shockwave Blood Demon art has is 𝓥𝓲𝓭𝓮𝓸, which is a pretty good move overall. On activation, the user deploys a compass needle before performing a barrage of attacks in the direction they're facing. The user can turn during this move and is guarded while the barrage is active, meaning that they're automatically blocking. Those hit by this move are stunned and take a decent amount of damage. This move is capable of combo extending, and the cooldown is 15 seconds. The third move that the Shockwave Blood Demon art has is its ultimate ability, Annihilation type. When Annihilation type is used, the user deploys a compass needle on the ground and takes a stance. After a short period of time has passed, the user rushes forward in the direction that they are facing until either the move's duration runs out or they hit a target. If someone is hit by this move, they are ragdolled and stunned for a decent amount of time and take a fairly high amount of damage. This move guard breaks and cannot be perfect blocked, though the damage of the move will be reduced if it is blocked. Annihilation type can be used to start a combo, but because of the long startup on the move, it cannot combo extend consistently. While this move is active, the user is completely invincible and cannot be hit by any attack. An interesting thing to note is that if this move collides with a flame-breathing user's Rengoku, the 2 moves will cancel each other out and both players will be knocked back. The cooldown for this move is much longer than other ultimates in the game, being 100 seconds. Finally, the last move in the Shockwave Blood Demon art's arsenal is its evasive, Scream. Scream is a fairly unique evasive, with a different effect than other evasives in the game. When used, the user screams, ragdolling everyone in the radius of the move for 0.5 seconds. This evasive is also blockable, interestingly enough. The cooldown for this evasive is the average cooldown for an evasive, being 20 seconds. The Shockwave Blood Demon art is a fairly interesting ability, with very powerful combo potential, but not a lot of methods for dealing with block. Because of this, one of the most important things you need to learn when using this Blood Demon art is how to go behind your opponent's block with regular M1s. To do this, breathe so that you gain improved dashes, and then dash over your opponent's head, quickly turn around, and then M1 them. You are also able to use moves with this, and both Air type M2 as well as Disorder work quite well for bypassing block after an overhead dash. Once you've mastered doing this, you won't have any trouble with people who turtle anymore. Another big weakness of the Shockwave Blood Demon art is that it is very close ranged, not having a lot of options for dealing with people running away. If someone is running away, you can either use Annihilation type to catch them, or you can use Air type M2 to hit them as they run and dash closer to start a combo. These are the 2 main weaknesses that Shockwave has, and once you overcome them, you'll be able to destroy people in fights. One interesting thing to note about the moveset is that you're pretty much invulnerable to any attacks while you're using your moves, so you don't have to worry too much about being punished if you miss a move. Both of your 2 main offensive moves are really good for punishing players that are rushing you down, so if you're in an M1 trade, feel free to throw out Disorder or Air type to try and catch them off guard. Your evasive, Scream, is unique compared to other evasives in the game, and if you don't follow it up with the right action, you'll be comboed again like you never used it in the first place. It's recommended to use air type right after you use Scream, so that you're guaranteed to escape from your opponent. If they're too slow to react to it, you can even start a combo on them. If your moves are on cooldown though, you can just mash the M1 button and you'll usually end up clashing with them, after which you can dash backwards or go back to neutral. Finally, for your ultimate, Annihilation type, it's recommended to use this move as a way to catch someone after they waste their evasive, since it's almost guaranteed to hit your opponent if you use it in the right conditions. Don't use Annihilation type near an elevated surface, since your opponent can just climb up it to escape. Instead, use it near flat ground or go to the top of the highest elevated surface and then use the move so that they can't climb something to escape. You can also move stack the move after 5 M1s if you want to combo extend with it. One last piece of advice is to aim at people's feet when using air type M2, instead of at their bodies. This is because your attack will often go straight through your opponent if you aim for their torso, so aiming for their feet will hit more often. Shockwave has a very good moveset alongside powerful combos, and once you've learned to overcome its weaknesses to people who constantly block and run, you'll be able to destroy people in fights. Now, here's a one-shot combo for the Shockwave Blood Demon art. With that being said, that concludes the tips and tricks section of the video. Now on to Counterplay. Shockwave is a blood demon art with a lot of weaknesses, and because of this, there's a lot of ways to counter it. First, an important thing to note is that every single move besides Annihilation type is blockable, meaning that there's not much they can do if you just hold block and turn to constantly face them. If a Shockwave user is rushing you down, blocking will negate almost everything they do, so as long as you're careful, you can avoid losing most of your health bar to a combo. Another thing to note about Shockwave is that every move besides the M2 for air type and the ultimate ability can only be used at close range, so you don't have much to fear when you're far away. You do have to be quite careful when dealing with its moveset when M1 trading though, as Shockwave is invulnerable during pretty much all of its moves. If you're rushing them, be on the lookout for the sound of the compass needle deploying, as it'll give you an indication of when to block to avoid their moves. If a Shockwave user throws out Disorder, you can try to hit them with a guard breaking move to punish them, but most of the time, you won't be able to get close enough to do this. If you see a Shockwave user use Scream, be careful, as they may use the M1 variant of air type to escape and try to combo you. If they do this, just block and you'll be completely fine. If they don't do this, however, you can use a move to hit them and continue your combo like nothing happened. Finally, when the Shockwave user uses Annihilation type, try to climb onto higher ground so that they can't hit you. If this is impossible, however, breathe and dash around while jumping to try and dodge the move until it's over. You can also use Rengoku or Annihilation type if you're playing Flame or Shockwave in order to counter them and cancel out their move. Shockwave is a fairly easy blood demon art to counter, but if you play recklessly around it, you won't be having a good time. That's the end of the Counterplay section. Now for the conclusion. Overall, Shockwave is a pretty decently balanced blood demon art. It has a really good moveset that can easily shut down anyone trying to rush down, but also has a few weaknesses that balance it out and allow for players to fight against it. It's unique in that pretty much every move is unpunishable, meaning that it's quite friendly for beginners learning their way around the game. It also has some really great combo starters at close range that can be used against opponents not blocking. The ultimate is also difficult to avoid and can combo start while dealing high damage, and the combos that Shockwave has are really great. However, it's balanced out by the fact that it's close range, lacks any good options to deal with turtling, and has an evasive that can be really inconsistent. Shockwave can be a really fun demon art to use, and it's a great ability for fights, with a good moveset that can hold up really well in both 1v1s and team fights. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be reviewing the briefings in Rogue Demon next, so stay tuned for those videos. With that being said, I'm 𝓥𝓲𝓭𝓮𝓸, and that's the end of the video.